the American people stand firm in the faith which has inspired this nation from the beginning. We believe that all men have a right to equal justice under law and equal opportunity to share in the common good. We believe that all men have the right to freedom of thought and expression. We believe that all men are created equal because they are created in the image of God. From this faith, we will not be moved.
Hello and welcome to the Freedom of Thought podcast. I am your host, Paladino Joey, or Joey Awajan. Freedom of Thought is available on all of your favorite podcasting apps. I thank each and every one of you once and always for downloading and listening to the show. It is a great pleasure to be back on board with you once again today as the world continues to be a crazy place, upside down in so many ways. Unfairness everywhere for hard workers versus people that don't really even do much. Seems like the ones that don't really do much and kiss you know what and are the ones that tend to move up, and the rest of us just seem to get stuck doing the same old crap forever, and it's extremely frustrating. But that's another topic. At the end of the day, obviously kind of tensions and interesting conversations going on with Trump and Iran the past couple of days here. PBS reporting March the 8th, Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, I used to be Ayatollah Khamenei back in the day, but it's, Ayatollah Khamenei, said he rejects a U.S. push for talks between the two countries because they would be aimed at imposing restrictions on Iran missile range and its influence in the region. Speaking to a group of officials on Saturday, Khamenei did not identify the United States by name, but said a bullying government, we're bullying, was being persistent in its push for talks. Their talks are not aimed at solving problems. It is for ... Let's talk to impose what we want on the other party that is sitting on the opposite side of the table. Khamenei's remarks came a day, and this is of course the supreme ruler, not the president, a day after President Donald Trump acknowledged sending a letter to Khamenei seeking a new deal with Tehran to restrain its rapidly advancing nuclear program and replace the nuclear deal with he withdrew with America from during his first term in office. Khamenei said the U.S. demands would both be military and related to the regional influence of Iran. They will be about defensive capabilities, as quote, about international capabilities of the country. They will urge Iran, just quotes or parentheses, not to do certain things, not to meet some certain people, not to go to a certain place, not to introduce some items. Your missile range should not be more than a certain distance. Is it possible for anybody to accept these? That's what he's saying, of course, Khamenei. Khamenei, who has final say on all state matters, said such talks would not address solving problems between Iran and the West. Though Khamenei did not name any person or country, he said the push for talks creates pressure on Iran in public opinion. And then, quote, it is not negotiation, it is commanding and imposition, he said. That's interesting. So, yeah. And they're maintaining that, Iran continues to maintain that their whole nuclear plan is for peaceful purposes, which I've always questioned. I've always kind of looked at that with a side eye. With a side look, that there's really no, that's all just peaceful peaceful reasons, and I'm wondering what could it possibly be? What could your peaceful reasons possibly be? So here it is. Tehran has long maintained its program is for peaceful purposes, even as its officials increasingly threaten to pursue the bomb, the bomb, as tensions are high with the U.S. over its sanctions, and with Israel as a shaky ceasefire holds its war against Hamas in the Gaza Strip. So, I don't know, man. I mean, this has been an ongoing thing for a very, very, very long time. And I don't know. Some people, of course, a lot of the left is going to continue to say that Trump is going to cause a World War III or something. Well, Biden basically just about did that with this whole situation with Ukraine and Russia. He's just about done that already. So it's almost like one way or another, something's going to give one way or another. Well, will Trump help quiet things down? Will the Lord, will the Lord through Trump help quiet things down a bit? Kind of like with North Korea years ago, when it was like Trump was saying that if North Korea messes around anymore, they will face fire and fury such as the world has never seen. And then things suddenly just got quiet not long after that. Not necessarily because Trump said that, but probably behind-the-scenes conversations and tensions certainly quieted down with North Korea and pretty much have remained quiet ever since. So, I don't know. I mean, Iran, I just think it's a different animal. I think it's a different story, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful by saying different animal, but you get the idea. It's a different situation. Iran's accelerated production of near weapons-grade uranium puts more pressure on Trump. He's repeatedly said he's open to negotiations with the Islamic Republic while also targeting Iran's oil sales with sanctions as part of his reimposed maximum pressure policy. So, interesting. Late last August, Khamenei in a speech opened the door to possible talks with the U.S., saying there is no harm, quote, no harm in engaging with the enemy. Ouch. Jeez. However, they're not our friends, are they? No. However, more recently, the Supreme Leader tempered that, saying that negotiations with America are not intelligent, wise, or honorable after Trump floated nuclear talks with Iran. Well, that doesn't sound good at all. So, obviously, again, this is just going to be an ongoing saga that's probably never going to end. I don't think Iran's intentions are good. That's just my personal opinion. I don't think so at all. They've never been good. Basically, going back to 1979 when this, whatever they are, radical leadership basically took over the country back in the day with the whole situation, with the whole deal where they basically overthrew the Shah. And I don't know. It's just like one way or another, the only way to kind of calm Iran down, I think, is probably eventually removal of that powerful group, that terror. Basically what they are is like radical group. I'm not sure what else to say without being, without getting myself booted from something, somehow or some way. It kind of is what it is. It's an ugly situation, and of course, no, you don't want to go to a huge war or anything, but sadly, that might be the only way to get rid of this regime currently that, rules Iran with their iron fist. And believe me, it's ruling with their iron fist. People may have gotten irritated with the Shah of Iran kind of living high on the hog, so to speak, looking like all kind of rich while other people might not be rich. But welcome to the earth, unfortunately. And are the are the mullahs of Iran, the ayatollahs, do they look like they're really, really with the people, or do they look like they're just supreme rulers? Like anybody called a supreme leader or supreme ruler, it's not exactly. It's just right there. It doesn't sound like a good guy, does it? Like right away, like I will be supreme ruler. It sounds like the bad guy in a video game or a book or a movie or something or a cartoon. That's what it sounds like. Whatever it is. I mean, whenever like I'll be supreme ruler and you will be, destroyed or whatever, that type of thing. It's kind of like what it is. So I've always kind of felt that way. Going back, obviously, like this whole situation started basically the year I was born in 1979, and it's never really truly gotten better. Obviously, like invading Iraq ended up being one of the biggest mistakes of all time because all they really did was create a supersized Iran, because now Iraq isn't really holding Iran in check, where Iraq was holding Iran in check throughout the 1980s and into the 90s a bit, before Saddam Hussein's regime was toppled in ultimately 2003 into 2004. Whereas now Iraq is pretty much, it is what it is. You don't really hear about them much anymore, but they're certainly not calming Iran down. And it was pretty much after like the death of Saddam Hussein in 2004 that people like going back to Mahmoud Ahmadinejad was like, yeah, we're going to really open things up here. And it's been, it's been kind of going ever since. I'm honestly surprised we're here 20 years later after Mahmoud Ahmadinejad became president at the time. He hasn't been president for a while now. But he was the one that was really like talking about that. Yeah, we're going to get this whole thing going again. And I don't think these Ayatollahs are slowing anything down. Obviously, they haven't the whole time. And it is like a borderline miracle that nothing terrible has happened basically in the last 20 years or so. Obviously, in 2005, it wasn't like ready to rock and roll, so to speak. They weren't necessarily ready. But who knows? Maybe they're trying to build up enough of an arsenal that God only knows how much damage they could potentially do. Then when they've talked about wiping Israel off the map and such, like, okay, yeah, let's pursue Iraq. Let's pursue Iraq. Let's pursue uranium. Nuclear, a nuclear program. While we're talking about wiping Israel off the map. Let's see. 2 and 2 together. Does it? I don't know. Let's see. Nuclear program. Wipe Israel off the map. Does that not sound like that their intentions are not good? I mean, seriously. So, obviously, the left probably wouldn't even care, even though they pretend to care right now because, like, they think Ukraine is kind of like an Israel thing. This and that. Obviously, there are some Jews in Ukraine and such. At the end of the day, others will tell you there's a heck of a lot of Nazis in Ukraine. That's actually on the opposite side of the equation after World War II when it came to Ukraine, what became Ukraine in 1992, which was still something else at the time, so part of Russia. So the whole thing is very strange, and I don't know, it's a very complicated situation that could definitely develop into a much bigger thing, and it fits Revelation perfectly. Wars and rumors of wars. I mean, it's definitely like rumors of wars, like Ukraine, Russia. Rumors of wars like Iran, which has pretty much been going on since at least 2005, and even all the way back in the 1980s. Ayatollah Khomeini has always been, like the original. Well, yeah, the ones going back into the 80s up until today have always been, I don't know, kind of a frightening group of people. Not exactly the good guys, let's just say that. Ever since they overthrew the Shah of Iran, that it's been a completely different vibe there. It's a completely different thing. Iran wasn't our enemy back in the day. No, they weren't. We were on the same side pretty much. Obviously, there was always like tensions between Israel and Palestine. That's been going on for quite a while. All kinds of conversations with that I don't need to get into at the moment for this particular episode. But, it is crazy how, this has gone on for about 20 years now, going back to 2005 when Mahmoud Ahmadinejad became president of Iran. And, in an election that felt like it was a sudden change at the last second, kind of like what went on in the past, with obviously like with Iraq, how Saddam Hussein would get like 98% or whatever. They had somebody who they thought was who most people thought was going to win, that was more Western minded, and then bam, nope, Mahmoud Ahmadinejad, president. It's like, whoa, so and then that's when all this nuclear conversation started, particularly after the death of Saddam Hussein. So it's pretty crazy when you think about the timing and of all of that. It's like, yeah, it's definitely a coincidence, isn't it, that Saddam Hussein falls, and then it's kind of like it's opening the door to possibly a nuclear attack, and the same guy was talking about wiping Israel off the map. And I do think he reflects a lot of the thought process in most of the supreme leadership of Iran. So it is ironic how, again, the left will take the side of, say a supreme ruler of Iran. You can just kind of feel that they are, and that Trump is just a maniac and an idiot, doesn't know what he's doing because they're just bullies, saying, no, we're not going to let you just... we're not going to let you fire nukes into Israel or anywhere else, quite frankly. No, this is not a joke. You're not trustworthy. You're not, especially when these words have been going on forever. Like the mullahs of Iran have talked about wiping the United States off the map, and death to the U.S. and death to America. Like, does that sound like people that want peace, peaceful purposes, that have peaceful purposes? Does it sound like people that have does it sound like peaceful purposes to you? I don't think so. So, for Trump to be, excuse me, quote, bullying the Iranians, I don't feel too bad, honestly, because who's really a bully here? Who's the one looking to start a war? Who's the one making big comments? Big comments. What if I kept threatening my neighbor here in the apartment? Like, oh, they should be blown away. And then, and then all of a sudden I get all this equipment ready to build a powerful, like, I don't know, gun or something, some powerful weapon. What would people think? No, buddy, I don't think so. I mean, it's been going on forever. Death to America, death to Israel. So it's been going on forever. If you think these kind of people are trustworthy, I think you're losing your mind. So, I don't know. The whole situation with Iraq years ago, that kind of was what that was. And I don't know. Saddam Hussein wasn't a good guy, but at the end of the day, again, he was kind of like policing the area and keeping Iran in check. And again, we were all kind of snookered and fooled, unfortunately, most of us. And I'll keep going back again. The left's purposes for going up against Bush in that war years ago were not because they knew what was going to happen and they knew that it would power up Iran, no, or that it would empower Iran and give them more of an open door to potentially attack Israel and do maybe a lot more. No, they didn't give a dang about that. It was all just about politics, and that's it. Politics, and that's it. Because Bush at the time had an R next to his name. No matter how left of center he truly was when it came to the Democrat-Republican thing or conservative-liberal thing. Bush was one of the most liberal Republicans of all time, if not the most. And in hindsight, at the end of the day, Bush wasn't a Republican at all. At the end of the day, he might as well have been just like another Clinton with some conservative views. That's about it. That's pretty much what all Bush really truly was Bill Clinton again. Pretty much the same, and a little bit more of a warmonger than Bill Clinton. And then years later, now the left is a lot more of a warmonger than anybody on the right, so to speak, except for maybe some of the deep state rights, like, of course, like the Kelsey Grahams of the world. So, I mean, you can't trust that guy. So, no, you can't. He's been a warmonger forever. Him and John McCain, the late John McCain, were basically all about bomb Iran. So that's nothing you can really feel confident in people like that leading you either. So, I mean, just going in and bomb Iran, that's not a solution for anything either at the end of the day. It's like, no, you're not going to do this. No, it's not going to happen. At the end of the day, if it's part of Revelation, I guess so be it. But that doesn't mean we have to lay back and let things happen, though. I don't think God necessarily wants that either. So we'll just have to, again, pray. There's another thing to pray about as we head into these next few weeks here, because it's certainly an interesting situation popping up. Iran certainly hasn't budged on anything pretty much since all of this started. I remember John Kerry basically had a plan to just kind of go ahead and do whatever you guys want. We're not going to create any tensions with you whatsoever. You guys are free to do whatever you want. That's pretty much what John Kerry's plan was to be if he became the president of the United States going back to 2004. Bush was just kind of like, That's kind of pretty much what Bush did, along with the whole North Korea situation, where Trump is more like, you'll face fire and fury such as the world has never seen. Like, no, you're not stepping any further. You shall not pass. Basically, you shall not pass. And you know what? That's what a leader does. That's what a leader does. When you stick your neck out in a situation like that, which, like, hey, I don't care if this makes me popular or makes me hate you or makes you hate me. I don't care. You shall not pass. That's what leadership is all about at the end of the day, in comparison to just kind of, we don't want to have tensions with you now. No, that's no solution to anything. That's Winston Churchill. Nope, that's the other guy. Chamberlain, excuse me. That's Neville Chamberlain. Bush was Chamberlain. Trump is Churchill. I'd rather have Churchill any day of the week. I've signed an agreement. Like everything will be totally fine. You guys can do whatever. And then the next day, basically, Hitler did what he did. So, a lot of fun. Good times, right? Good times at the end of the day. Looking to see now if there's anything in the mailbag at all of any types. Don't expect this to be too long. Heck, it's already about 20 minutes. So, and Iran's been on my mind for many years, obviously. And there was a time I thought we were actually going to go to war with Iran during the Bush era, and I would have supported it because it's like, well, they're on the verge of using nuclear weapons here, or building a nuclear facility. This could be an extremely dangerous situation. I hope it doesn't come to that. No. Supporting wars is not the best thing. Being a warmonger is not a good thing. Some people just want it because so they can have their government contracts, building weapons and building, whatever weapons, basically tanks, missiles, whatever. Get your big government contracts and make billions of dollars. That's extremely evil. I mean, that is the definition of love of money being the root of all evil. If you're literally You would literally want war so you could have a contract to make money. The hell with how many people die. I don't care. You got to break a couple eggs to make an omelet. I mean, that's the communist attitude. Got to break a couple eggs to make an omelet. I mean, what the heck is wrong with you people? What is wrong with you? It's insanity. Anyhow, Facebook page, facebook.com/Freedom of Thought 1776. Yeah, well, unfortunately, there haven't been any comments really much, but there was something that took place this past week. Person that's been, I don't know, I got in a minor spat with years ago on Facebook and Twitter, and just seeing my name, it was like a pretty minor spat on Facebook, and we'd apologized and moved on when he'd called me a bleeping dummy. He was a local radio host named Henry Lake, who's got an attitude. He is one heck of a, he was a sports guy. But then occasionally he gets political, and I mean really political. And, the angry BLM type, basically, like the, screw you if you disagree with anything I have to say, basically. That kind of person. I mean, it's one thing if you're with BLM. It's another that you're a bleeping racist, get out of my face, for daring to say I don't agree. That's pretty much what Henry Lake is. That's pretty much what he is. He's an angry son of a gun. He really is. There was talk about, like on Bring Me the News, they were saying that WCCO 830 AM is ending its local programming on weekday evenings, canceling the Henry Lake Show in the process. And I was like, good. Son of a biscuit gets what he deserves. He's a complete jackass. An absolute hater. Absolute hater of anybody that doesn't have the same point of view as him on everything. And anybody, anybody that has a conservative view on anything basically is racist and a jackass and an idiot and any kind of name calling you can think of, like just stupid, kind of like Patrick Royce as well. And then the next day, it's like the other way around. Yep, they switch it back. So I was extremely disappointed to hear that they're reversing course. No, we're going to keep everything as is. Everything's fine. We're not going to cancel the show. We're going to continue things as they were. So I was pretty disappointed to hear that. It's not like you're rooting for somebody to lose their job, yet at the same time, I don't know. I mean, at the same time, this guy is at another level. Like, there was a time I thought he was a nice guy, but it seemed like even just in sports conversations, when somebody would have a different point of view, he would show the person up, embarrass them, make a lot of noise, just over-dramatize the whole dang thing. And it was annoying. And it's like, ugh. Like, I remember thinking, like, why is he acting like that? Settle down. Gosh, you're like embarrassing the guy just for daring to have a different point of view about sports. And then when he is an even worse, creep about it when it comes to political differences, it's like, all right, man, get out of here. Just go. It's one thing to be opinionated and have strong opinions. It's another to belittle people and call them names and humiliate them and just, like, hey, dude, get out. Just go. Just go. So when I heard the possibility of a show simply being canceled, he's getting fired. It's more like getting laid off. Like, getting laid off is not even close to as harsh as being fired. And honestly, I thought there were times he should have been fired, not laid off. So it's like, whatever. If a show is canceled because they don't want to have evening shows anymore on WCCO, well, so bleeping be it. And they reverse course, and he's got it right back on. Like, like it or not, I'm on the air. Ha ha. And it's just being a jerk about it. Because I guess, what was it? One of the local, I think it was like local Crime Watch Twitter accounts was saying basically like, yeah, not going to miss this jackass. And unfortunately, that Henry Lake basically got the last laugh on that one. So that was pretty disappointing as far as I'm concerned. Let's see if I can pull it up here real quick. Apologize for the delay. Here it comes. So it was, yes, Crime Watch Minneapolis. They were saying, who could have imagined? Who could have imagined selling out to George Soros would end badly? George Soros would end badly. And then like bye-bye, haha. That's basically what it was saying, you know. Like in the... Yeah, and of course, other people, the old George Soros bad bleep conspiracy BS. Quite the original take there. You know what? Screw you. Of course it's real. Yeah, and then Crime Watch Minneapolis responds to the I like beer person saying, say what? And it was there. George Soros took on $400 million in Odyssey's debt, for 50 cents on the dollar and became the largest shareholder in the restructured company. Several foreign entities also took on some of Odyssey's debt, leaving the company with more than 20% foreign ownership. Well, that's interesting. See? Well, that's a nice comeback by Crime Watch Minneapolis. So if I'm you, I would follow Crime Watch Minneapolis instead of Henry Lake or any of these other clowns. So good for them that they're not fans of a lot of this left wing. And they have, how many? 150,000 followers. Cool. So Crime Watch Minneapolis. See, not all of us are fans of what's been going on. Like, I can imagine Crime Watch Minneapolis looking at Henry Lake running his big mouth during that whole George Soros thing. George Floyd thing going on back in 2020, which I responded like, hey, man, you're too much, basically. And he said, don't be a bleeping dummy or whatever. I said, dude, you're too much. Like, I mean, he went on a huge rant, and it was way too much. And that's kind of basically what happened on Twitter. Henry Lake responded to the whole situation saying, sad for an account with a big following like this, rooting for an iconic station like WCCO Radio to fail and folks to lose their jobs. Sorry to upset you, but my show is from 6 to 9 p.m. nightly. Well, you hate, and of course he had to throw that in. Oh, yeah, we hate you so much. Yeah, screw you, dude. I'll focus on my show, on my radio show, and other media projects. And at me next time. Like, yeah, we should... Yep, we'll at you as much as we can. So, no, I mean, I'll focus on my podcast, Henry Lake, because this ain't going away either. So, you know, you want to fight with, you want to talk down to us and say that, yeah, you're still going to be around. Well, we're going to still be around here on Freedom of Thought as well. Because, yeah, we're going to oppose you. We're going to oppose your types that are constantly running their big mouth and calling everybody names and accusing people of racism and hate. It's nonsense like that I want no part of. And I think, again, like I was saying on previous episodes, it's time to start turning our guns locally a bit here on Freedom of Thought. Now, of course, national is going to be a thing forever, like this whole, you know, and national, international as well with this whole Iran situation. Obviously, Trump in office and all the national media and, of course, local media, you know, obviously looking only at negative possible thoughts for Donald Trump. Can't think of a single positive thing he's ever done or said, ever. It's impossible for them to do. Because that's just the way they think. That's the way they think. And they treated George W. Bush the same way, which is funny back in the day. Now it's like, oh, Bush is one of the good guys. Sure he is. No, he's not. Bush never was. Bush never really truly was he? Much as you wish he was, he wasn't. We kept wishing, wanting, begging for more out of George H.W. Bush, or George W. Bush, but it just never happened. Never happened, and it was never meant to be. Unfortunately, at the end of the day, it's interesting. It's very interesting. Sorry. Yep, and of course they did that. Sorry about that. God help us all, right? So, what more is there to say? Well, I guess, yeah, we're going to still be here too, Henry. Again, like I was talking about turning the guns locally a bit, politically, because something's got to be done. I mean, this state needs to be, you know... This state needs to turn from cobalt blue to at least purple and into the pink and red range, if humanly possible, one way or another. Obviously, Hennepin County and Ramsey County are what they are. Hennepin County's Minneapolis area, Ramsey County's like St. Paul and surrounding suburbs and such. They kind of are what they are, but again, some of the inner city did help Donald Trump get elected because they had enough of the nonsense. They were tired of hearing the same BS from the Henry Lake types about how awful conservatives and Republicans are and how Democrats are looking out for them, which is a load of garbage. A load of garbage. That's why Trump got elected, because people finally started waking up, even in the inner cities. And Obviously we're going to have to hope and pray for that as we go forward into future elections like Tim Walz. Like, how in the heck can Tim Walz possibly get reelected again? I mean, how could you even think of him running for a third term or somebody similar to him running in the next term coming up here? So it's going to be a bigger conversation this time around rather than, oh, darn it, another Democrat won, or Tim Walz as governor again. Oh, dag nabbit. No, I mean, we got to fight harder in these situations, the governors, the senators, even like local, like little city, like mayors and such. It needs to be done. Like, things have to be done. There has to be progress in this state of Minnesota because it's too much. There's too much damage has been done here, and there's too much, too much of a stronghold with the media as well locally here. That needs to change as well. Like, even luckily CNN even has at least one conservative person there that's been standing pretty strong. So that's been pretty cool. Now I'm forgetting his name, but because I know Dan Bongino brings him up a lot. And speaking of Dan Bongino, he's going to become deputy. He's going to be like the deputy director of the FBI, right? So that's pretty cool. Unfortunately, no more show from him, but we'll keep an eye on the guy that's replacing him. So his name is Vince. So we'll keep an eye on him and listen to him some more and wish him the luck and all of that. So, yep. Got to keep fighting locally as well, not just president and U.S. senator and all that. It's got to be local, and of course House representatives like Ilhan Omar. I mean, it's got to stop. The nonsense has to stop with that as well. So that's kind of what it's all about: standing up and getting the word out. Got to get the word out to these people that to people that have been lied to forever, people that have been taken advantage of. Like, oh, you're poor. We're gonna look out for you. When the reality is, they're not looking out for anybody. They're looking out for their own votes and their own good. That's all this Democrat Party is about at the end of the day. With that said, I think we're going to wrap things up here. Wishing you a wonderful week here or so. Glad I was able to get another show out this weekend. Glad to be able to keep keeping up with freedom of thought a bit. As for those of you that listen to Mysterious Adventures as well, yeah, there's some stuff in the works there. So, yep, always recommending Mysterious Adventures. Kind of some of that cryptoid stuff. You could call it cryptoid, paranormal, like cryptocurrency. That conversation would be here, not on probably not on Freedom of Thought, New World Order, stuff like that. It's going to more likely be here, though. There will be some New World Order conversation, I'm sure, a bit on Mysterious Adventures, but that could be more like some of the creepy stuff going on with AI and such. So conversations going on to Mysterious Adventures, like some new shows that are going to be coming up soon in the queue, you could say, could be a conversation centering on AI. I remember I was going to talk about that even on Freedom of Thought a while ago, but I'm glad I didn't yet, so I can save that for Mysterious Adventures, because there is a lot to say with AI. Talk about deception, talk about creepy, and even demonic. Yes, there is a demonic side to AI, and that's something I'm going to make a major point of conversation in future shows on Mysterious Adventures. I don't think it's going to be just one single episode. The Mothman, yes, the Mothman. I'm going to talk about that a bit, and I may have possibly seen it once, about 10 years ago, and I'm not kidding. I might have seen it. Yeah, so need to do some prep for those shows and all of that. And of course, this show needs prep as well, but at the same time, we can also just kind of get into news as well, especially if there's not been a whole lot of prep going into certain episodes. Simply looking at the news, there's always something big going on, especially now, as everyone's obviously going after Trump, but Trump is also, again, going after enemies of the United States, which is no doubt about that. So, yeah, Mothman, AI conversations there. This one will be keeping up with the news, but also there are going to be some interesting kind of prepped episodes coming in as well. Like OJ type of episodes possibly in the future. Not necessarily OJ, but shows like that. Remember how it was like a presentation. It was more of a presentation than like talking about news or anything like this particular episode, because obviously there's going to be news commentary on Freedom of Thought, especially regarding Iran and tensions with Iran. With that said, I think I've said enough for today, and wishing all of you a wonderful week. Should be back in a week, hopefully not longer than that, but if it's 2 weeks max, then I guess so be it. If you'd like to help this show and Mysterious Adventures, it would help both, because it's kind of going to both shows, both possible shows, Mysterious Adventures and Freedom of Thought. There's a Give, Send, Go link in the show description if you'd like to help. You can donate as little as 99 cents if you want. It could be recurring, it could be a single, but whatever it is, I really appreciate you. And if you decide not to, totally free. Totally free. I'm not going to create paywalls or anything. At least definitely not anytime soon. I don't see myself creating a paywall anytime soon. Of course, like members only episodes, I don't see that happening. That might happen someday in the very distant future on Mysterious Adventures, but very unlikely at this point. Obviously right now it's not even a conversation. It's not even, don't even think about it. But if Give, Send, Go, if people are donating there off and on, there probably will never be a paywall. That type of thing. And this show, I don't think there ever will be. The other one, maybe, and I mean maybe. And it would be very small. It wouldn't be like $11 a month. Like, that's insane. Are you kidding me? $11 a month for members only episodes? Come on, guys. Come on. Like, what are the shows made out of platinum or something? So I think that's weird. With that said, sorry, I've been babbling a bit. Wishing all of you the best. Be safe. And take care, and God bless the United States of America.